So this is where we're headed. We want to set up this look development scene with our interface. The primary reason for this functionality, but the big things here that we want to avoid moving forward is big viewports equal unnecessary preview times. And this is a super common problem. Basically, Blender has to render this entire viewport, right? So if we have a massive viewport, we're essentially rendering at resolutions that are way above what our final result's going to be. For example, I have this little resolution chart here. My demo reel to this day has never been above 720p. And I see so many that I was a victim of this as well when I first started, where I just wanted to do incredibly high resolutions that were way above, and I thought they were going to make all my stuff really good. And ultimately they just didn't. It didn't work out, and it was just a lot of wasted time. So my demo right here, you can see right here, it only goes up to 720p. That's because I don't need to go any higher. All of our cinematics that we do at CG Fast Track, they're all 720p. And the goal with all of that artwork is really just to get people excited, right? It's to tell a story and to do good work. And 4K resolution is not going to enable you to do that. Unless you're working on a film, you shouldn't have a reason to go in 4K. And even then, even the films that I've worked on, we've worked in 2K, not 4K. We've always just up-resed afterwards. So just be very conscientious of your actual resolution while you're working. Keep resolution low. 4K is not your friend. And we'll start talking about setting out of that now. So right now, Blender's having to render this entire viewport. And, if you try to even throw cycles at this, even on really, really fast computers, it can be slow. So let's set this up. At the bottom, we have our, in our layout tab here, we have our time slider. We don't need that at all. So we're just going to go ahead and change this into our shader editor. And we're going to get into this heavily in the next couple chapters. I'm going to go ahead and end to collapse the active tool. And I'll go ahead and right click over here and then do a vertical split like this. And I'll go ahead and leave this directly in the middle. Now what we can do is have one set the solid, one set the render. Now we have a small previewable frame here that's not going to be too big. And what we can do is just hit T to collapse that on the side. I'm going to go ahead and turn off these two icons right here to get rid of the display options. And there we go. Now we have a small, easy to preview tool. Next up, we want to set up our camera resolution, so when we actually render it. So over here, what I'm going to do is just go to my view camera. And I'm going to go ahead and lock my camera, lock camera to view right there. So now whenever I move around, the camera will come with. If you want your camera to take up the entire frame, you just hit the home button. And we can essentially do that on both our render view and our preview window. And right now, our render view is going to be way too high. This is 1080p right now. This is way, way, way more than what you ever need, especially during the look development phase. So what we want to do is go to our output properties right here, and what we're going to do is just set this up to be 540 by 540, which will be more than enough resolution to get going on. So whenever I render this, it'll be relatively small, so we won't have excess render time happening. And we can essentially look development, even though we might be rendering 720p later, or even potentially 1080p, which we can still work really, really small right now, get things done very, very quickly, and then up-res later.